Alright YouTubers, what's going on? We got a new knife for you today. We're looking at a new Liong Mah design. This is his latest design. This is, he calls the Lanny. It's his take on the traditional knife, the Lanny's clip. So, very cool knife. I was very excited about this one. I like the bolster, the micarta. You can get it with carbon fiber or green micarta. This is like the brown, they call it Westinghouse micarta. So let's go ahead and get into this a little bit more. But I was pretty stoked about this one. I liked the size of this one. You're looking at about a 3 1/4 inch blade, and handle length. Oh, there's my. Where's my measuring tape? I think it's around 4 inches, but let's just double check. Maybe a hair longer than 4. I'm struggling today. Alright, so yeah, we're looking at about, just a hair over 4 inches, maybe 4 1/4. Just shy of 4 1/4 inches on the handle, 3 1/4 on the blade, so it is a more compact knife, which for me, this is a pretty much perfect size. So it does have a wire wheel, orange peel finish on the titanium, which is awesome. The bolsters are very seamless. These are made by Riyadh, again, designed by Liong Mah. I bought this directly from Liong Mah. The fit and finish is awesome. Whenever you're doing an inlay like this and a bolster, sometimes there can be some gaps and things, and Riyadh did an excellent job on this one. Totally nailed it. Titanium backspacer, titanium clip, and a new design pivot from Liong Mah, which I really like. Nice decorative pivot. Takes torques, which is nice. Okay, so the flipper tab is really well done. It's small, but it has some nice jimping. So you can really get it, and the action on this guy is a rocket. It just flips out of there. You can see the compound grind on this. You have a flat ground tip and a hollow ground edge. I mean, the rest of the knife. I don't know what you call that. The belly. I don't know. Is flat. Is hollow ground. You notice it has some nice jimping up here, and you have this little fuller here. That's not just for looks. I've decided that the reason why that's there is because, like a traditional folder, it's going to have a way to pinch it open, and this gives you a way to not use the flipper. Now you can't, that I've discovered, it's very difficult to roll it out because of the detent, but you can, if you want to open it two-handed, you can pinch it out like that. Just gives you something to hold on to. Very similar to what Giant Mouse did on the GMP3 with the nail nick. Very similar idea, where you can, simply pull it out. I actually think it's better executed on the Mah right here. I like this little fuller idea better than a nail nick, but either way, it's a kind of a hint to the traditional knife, which I like, especially considering this is based off the Lanny's clip. So I like that feature. I thought that was very cool. The bolster lock is also very well done. Has a nice stainless steel lock bar insert. It's pretty seamless. Like I said, the fit and finish on this guy is really good. I think the brown Westinghouse only had, there was only a certain number made. Let's check real quick. I know the carbon fiber was going to be produced more, but all the knives use S35 Viong, S35 steel. Let's see here. So there's an intro offer on this one. Yeah, it is the brown. Oh. Is the brown Westinghouse, Lanny Westinghouse brown canvas micarta. Like I said, there was one with green that had, there was a special edition one that had Damas steel. There's the carbon fiber. So this one's actually the least expensive. The carbon fiber is about $415. This one is $390, and doesn't really say. Oh, 90 pieces made of the carbon fiber, and I want to say that the micarta only had 50 pieces made. I could be wrong. It could be the same as the carbon fiber. So very low number of these made. Not high, highly produced model. The action is just freaking. It's a snappy flipper. It really flies out of there. Got a pretty substantially thick blade stock right here. Let's tick that out. 0.152 inches thick on the blade stock. Let's see how thin the edge is though. 0.275, 0.0275. So it's very thin behind the edge. That's awesome. And I think the tip may even be ground thinner. Okay, other way around. The tip is actually a little thicker, which does make sense. Yeah, 0.47. So the tip is thicker. I said that backwards. The primary bevel is going to be, or edge is going to be thinner ground than the tip, and that's for reinforcement of the tip, which makes perfect sense. So that's quite a bit thicker at the tip, but you're going to get a more robust tip. As you can see here, you got a pretty, like I said, pretty thick blade stock that's pretty much the same all the way down, and tapers here to a nice tip. So very good looking clip point blade. Just an excellent take on the Lanny, traditional folder. I think I really dig it. I really like this design. I held off on buying it. I was gonna buy it right away, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, do I go with the carbon fiber? Do I go with the micarta? I'm a big micarta fan. I've always, from traditional knives and such, I've always dug micarta. I think it's a knife material that should be used more. So I think with this titanium bolster with the wire wheel, orange peel finish, really goes so good with the brown micarta. I think it's just a handsome knife. He did use the same type of filler on the clip, as you can see here, as the GSD. All the different model numbers are running through my head. So all the other clips are flush clips. All the other screws are flush, except for this one, and that is to allow the clip to be switched to left-hand carry. And I've decided it kind of has to sit up a little higher because the screw has to be long enough for this clip. So that that's one of those things I didn't like on the GSD, and it's the same on this. So it just, you get this nice smooth transition with all the other hardware, and then you have this one just kind of sticking up. So I would honestly just rather see not having the option to switch to left hand, but I understand why he does that, to appease the left-handers out there. So that's totally understandable. S35 yen on the steel. Good steel. For this price point, I would just love to see M390. I feel like it's not that much more expensive. I mean, I know it's more expensive steel, but I think S35 nowadays you can get in so many less expensive models. If you look at like this giant mouse here, this is sporting M390, and it was about $100 less. Actually, no, about $40 less. And this one's made in the bronze, so if you went with the standard titanium GMP3 or GM3, you'd be even less. And it does have M390 steel, and this one's made in Italy versus made in China, so something to kind of think about. I think that the pricing on these knives is, the introductory price is better than what you're going to pay at dealers and such, so something to kind of think about. Let's compare it to the Mini Typhoon. Sport an S90. Doesn't like to sit because of that clip. Very similar in size, a little bit smaller than the Mini Typhoon, and then a small Sabenza. It's a little longer. This is the size. Well, no, it's not a whole lot different. But this is the size that everyone wants Chris Reeve to make. Well, Chris is, it's still Chris Reeve's knife, but he's no longer there. It's Ann and Tim, but everyone wants this made. Just make a medium Sabenza. That's all we're asking. This would be a 3 1/4 inch blade, this size handle, so it's just a tad bigger than the small, but big enough that you don't need to go to a large. I would just love to see it. I love the smalls, but if they made Sabenza in this size, that's all I would have. So that's why this knife is great, because it's a good size in between. Let's go ahead and look at since this is just a first impressions video. 0. See how thick the handle is. 0.47, so you're under a ½ inch thick, which isn't always good. So I like a little bit slimmer knife. That's definitely slimmer. My one gripe on this guy, well, let's check out the weight while we're doing specs and stuff. Sorry, this video is kind of all over the place. Sometimes I sit and kind of plan ahead, and sometimes I just fly by the seat of my pants, and this is one of those times. So you're under 4 ounces, so this is Nothing Fancy approved for your EDC weight. And let me show you the pocket clip in the pocket. This is my one gripe on this knife, I guess. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the clip. It's not that it's not deep, it is. It's fine. There's a little bit hanging out. It's not bad. It's just that it's stiff. You can see it's got really good retention, but I would like just a titch more spring in the clip, and it would be fine. But it's just a little stiff. It's kind of going to be one of those ones that's kind of difficult to get in and out of the pocket. Not horribly, but it depends on the thickness of your jeans or your slacks or whatever you're using this in. Slacks, it should probably be fine. A thicker jean, it's going to be kind of a bear to get in and out. So that's, I guess, my one negative comment on this one, is the clip could have a little bit more spring to it, so it's not as difficult. Other than that, it doesn't create any hot spots at all. Very good ergonomics on this knife, by the way. That's one thing I always try to mention, is the ergos, and this is fantastic in either grip. Either way you look at it, the jimping's really nice. He toned down the jimping from the GSD. The GSD had too aggressive a jimping. This is about perfection. It's just enough to grip you, give you a nice, grip, but not enough to like tear up your thumb. So pretty much perfect on the jimping there. The lockup is solid. It's pretty early. I'd say it's about 30%. No stick at all with that lock bar insert. Perfectly centered, and the action again is phenomenal. Running on ceramic bearings. So it's what you would expect from Riot in manufacturing this knife. So really digging it, guys. Really loving this design by Liong Mah. Very well done. Love the traditional styling kind of on modern folders. I'm a big fan of that. Kind of like these are two. I mean, the GMP3 has been one of my favorite knives in a while, and I kind of like those. I would love to see more companies do that. Get some of those more traditional stylings into their knives, to their modern folders, because it just adds a cool little. It's just different. Everything's so tactical and everything these days, and it's nice to see a little bit more styling and kind of more traditional styling and slip joint style features on these more modern folders. So alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we will see you on the next one.